And I will send the recording to everybody once it's finalised at the end. So we are recording now, so if everybody could make sure that they're on mute, that would be great. Okay, now bear with me as my system's a little bit clunky at present. I'll just get my PowerPoint up on the screen. I'm hoping that that's worked. Give me a second. Did that just work just then? Yep, okay, cool. And mine's a little slow as well. Okay. There we go. Excellent. So I'd like to start with an acknowledgement of country. PIEFA acknowledges traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognises the continuing connection to lands, waters and communities. We pay our respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities and to elders past and present. So today our program is going to involve 3 sessions. Jo and Cass from the New South Wales Department of Primary Industries will be discussing the National Livestock Identification System. Then I'll be showing you some of PIEFA's latest resources for use within Stage 5 Agricultural Technologies, Science and Geography. And then Duncan from the Royal Agricultural Society of New South Wales will be discussing how we can promote agricultural innovation into our teaching and learning. We'll then conclude with a feedback survey and questions will be answered if time permits at the end. If you do have questions, they can be typed into the comments section or messages section. And if we don't have time at the end to answer the questions, I'll put together responses and send them out via email at the end. So I'll now hand over to Jo and Cass from the New South Wales Department of Primary Industries.
Thanks, Sharon. So I'm Jo Hathaway from the New South Wales Department of Primary Industries Schools Program. We are a team of 3 in the department, and we're joined today, as Sharon said, by Cass Blacklow, who is part of our animal biosecurity team. And so she's our expert panelist for today. I'm going to give you a really quick overview of some of the resources that we've got available, particularly those that work towards students' understanding of sustainability. If you've got any questions for Cass, she'll need to leave to do a school pickup, as many of us are familiar with, and so we can do that at the end of Cass's quick chat. So we've allowed time for that, so that she can duck off and meet her family needs. I'll just start sharing my screen. So the other team members in the Department of Primary Industry Schools program are Michelle Fifield and Meg Dunford. They're based at Orange, and myself, I'm based at Tocal on Wonnarua country, and we are all ex-teachers or teachers with the Department of Education. So we're working towards the syllabuses that we've all taught in the past. Now, sorry, I was about to share the wrong tab with you. So how to find our resources. If you go to your browser and type in New South Wales DPI Schools Program, you probably won't come up because you probably don't search it as much as I do. Probably won't be at the top of the list like that, but just let me know if someone wants to give me a shout out, because now I can't see you guys. Hang on, I think I've already lost.
You're all good. Your screen sharing.
Still sharing, but I'm on the wrong tab, I think. So let me stop presenting and start again, and then I won't change tabs after that. That'll be easier. All right, so you should be on one now that says school resources. So if you don't, sorry, was that a yes?
Can't see anything, Jo.
Can't see anything. Okay.
Try clicking on the actual tab. That's what I had to do.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So have you got one there that says school resources now?
Yep, all good.
Yes.
Great.
Yep.
Okay. I won't move from this tab. So in terms of the resources that we have available, they're all, you can access everything that we have from this page on the DPI website. Both of the primary school and secondary school links there go to this page where all of the resources are listed. The role of the schools program within the Department of DPI is to provide opportunities and support teachers in delivering food and fibre learning. In terms of which ones apply to sustainability, they all do, because the department's role is to encourage stronger primary industries. Stronger primary industries into the future obviously need sustainability. So all of our resources that are mapped to New South Wales syllabuses, a quick look here. It's even slow on mine, so hopefully you're catching up as well. Right from these really brief little 5-minute fill-in games, the vocabulary loop cards, to full units of work, the investigate units of work based on biosecurity issues in the state or concerns within the state. The picture books, Tocal virtual farm activities, so workbooks and teacher guides for all of these activities, all are mapped to science and technology, geography, PDHPE outcomes, and address sustainability, help students develop an understanding of sustainability concerns, in particular in those areas. The secondary resources, same story, mapped to a bunch of different syllabuses, but when it boils down to it, all about stronger primary industries into the future and developing in students an understanding of the issues around that. And if not encouraging them to work in primary industries, then certainly developing their understanding of the issues and making them more informed consumers. As Sharon said earlier, we're really going to focus on the teacher professional development that we've got available this afternoon. So that third tile across, we have quite a number of courses available. Mostly they are available for accreditation through teacher identified training, except for the Ag Patch course, which is accredited for 5 hours of training. It costs $50, and it encourages teachers to either develop a school garden program and a unit of work that helps students to understand all the issues of primary industries, and particularly in their specific context, delivered within the garden situation. Or encourages teachers to work with other parts of the school in talking about high school systems, maybe getting a geography teacher to work with the ag teacher to deliver their perspectives on land management with the use of the ag plot as a teaching tool, for example. Climate Challenge for New South Wales teachers specifically addresses the Stage 6 elective, the Climate Challenge. It's $150, and at the end of it, as well as the knowledge and understanding that comes with completion of these modules, you'll have a student workbook to use to deliver that elective of the agriculture syllabus. Obviously applicable to a range of other subject areas. It is written towards that elective though. Today we're going to have a quick look at the NLIS training for teachers, which is available for free. I believe we've got ag teachers with us today, and so you will probably already be aware that you have obligations in terms of the NLIS, so the National Livestock Identification Scheme, as the same as any other producer in the state. So the course is very easy to navigate. It's a couple of hours of work at the most, and it's based on the training that the department has for producers, and it just has a bit of contextual information about schools. So same sort of content, value and importance of the system. Oops. Why is NLIS important? What are the basic components of it? There's the example I found earlier is that gives it the school context is things like this. So this screen or this slide is about property identification codes, PICs, which you will have for your school, and the specific issues that you might like to consider in terms of the schools, in terms of staff changing over and that sort of thing. So a couple of those little extra pointers. Other than that, it's really based on, it really is very similar to, well, it is the course that is offered for producers. And so that's the reason that we have Cass here, because she's the expert on the NLIS system for you guys, and we wanted you to be able to ask her questions in this situation. I'm just trying to stop presenting. And I'm going to hand over to Cass to have a quick chat about that, and then we've got time for questions.
Thank you. I was waiting for my camera to come on then. I thought it wasn't going to work there for a second. So, hi everyone. My name is Cass. I'm the Biosecurity Intelligence Support Officer in the Animal Traceability and Biosecurity Programs. Yes, that's a mouthful. Team at New South Wales DPI. I'm coming to you from Orange today in Central West New South Wales, which is on Wurundjeri country. When you call the NLIS support line, if you need help with the NLIS database, you will generally come through to me. And if there's not something I can help you with, I generally can find the right person for you to talk to. Joe, I might just run through a really quick rundown of the database if we've got time for that, or are we sort of pushing our time limit a little bit here?
We probably started a little bit late with the delay for me. So yeah, no, you've got 5 minutes. 5 minutes?
Let's do it. Now, let me just see if I can figure out. I'm also not familiar with Google Meet, so just bear with me for a second. No, I don't want to share that one. Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yep, excellent. So when you log on to nlis.com, this is the screen that you will get. If you already have an account, you will click on login and enter your login details. But if you don't have an account already, you will need to register. The National Livestock Identification System, or NLIS, it's more commonly known, is a nationwide scheme for the identification and tracing of livestock. It's really crucial in protecting and enhancing Australia's reputation as a producer of quality beef and sheep meat. It also allows us to trace stock. So if there is an outbreak or of a disease, we can actually trace that stock to see where they've been, when they were there, and those sorts of things as well. The database holds information on livestock movements from all the way from birth to slaughter to protect and enhance our reputation as a producer of animal products that are free of chemical residues and exotic diseases. It combines 4 elements to enable the lifetime traceability of animals. Your livestock identification, which is the tag that's in their ear. Sheep, cattle, goats all have tags in their ears. The property ID, which is your PIC, and if you don't have a PIC, you need to contact your nearest local land services and they can talk you through that process. Your NVD, and then your NLIS database, which is what we're talking about very quickly today. A really, really quick look at NLIS tags, and NLIS sheep and goat individual EIDs are coming into effect soon as well. But this just gives you a really, really quick look at the tags, and the numbers on there, they're long, but they actually do mean something. Creating an NLIS account, once you log on there, schools will need to register as a producer. That's essentially what a school is. You're producing cattle or sheep or goats or livestock. You click on register, you fill in all of those details, and then you'll get an email confirming that you've submitted an NLIS account application. Generally within about 7 days, you'll be notified by email if your account application is successful or unsuccessful. The biggest reason that an account application is unsuccessful is if the person who is trying to register for the account is not the owner of the PIC or an authorised person on the PIC. So I would suggest contacting your local land services office just to check that you are on the PIC before you apply for your NLIS account, because that will make the process for you and for us much quicker and smoother. Once your account application has been approved, you can then log into the NLIS database. You will use your username that you were provided when you apply for your account and your password that you were also provided with. If for some reason you don't receive that or you can't remember it, just pop in your NLIS user ID, click on your password, forget your password, and then you'll be able to reset that. One of the great things about the database is the help tools. Once you're in the database, if you've got a help and then help tools, it brings up this whole page of tech tips, and they're fantastic. I've only been in this role for about 18 months, and when I started this role and I had to find my way around the database, these are the tips that I used, and they are really easy to use. They're written in plain English, and there's a section at the top there. So you can see there's a little drop-down box saying there's cattle, sheep, sheep mobs, etc., that you can click on the species, and those tech tips are generally specific to the species that you're trying to work with. At the top of that page, there are also some really handy user guides. And the fourth dot down, you'll see there's one there for producers and feedlots, which is a little bit hidden by the drop-down box. But it's a really good one to click on if you just want a general producer guide to know what you can and can't do, what you need to be doing, etc. This is just a quick example of what the tech tips look like, and the database user guide. So the one I've downloaded there is for processors, but you'll obviously need the producer one. And that's just a quick look at what the dashboard will actually look like once you log in. So your producer dashboard, that's what it will look like. And the first thing you do is up the top, you select on the species you need to work with. And then you've got your little menus down the left-hand side of that screen there that you can select to what you want to do. If you need support, there's a few options. You can call the NLIS helpline, 1800 654 743. You can email us on the New South Wales DPI traceability team. There's 2 email addresses there. You can email either of those. The first one goes to myself or Neil in the team. The second one is my direct email address, which you're more than welcome to email any questions that you've got after this session or into the future. That landline there, that's my direct landline, so you're also welcome to call that. And the New South Wales DPI website that I've popped down the bottom there also has some really great resources and a lot of those help guides. I do also, I'll just stop sharing there now. I can figure out how to do that. Okay, so I think I've stopped sharing now, have I? It doesn't actually show me much at this end.
No, it doesn't, does it? No, you've stopped sharing.
No. Excellent. I'm so used to Teams, which is very, very different. So, yeah, if anybody's got any questions after the session, I'm more than happy for you to email me. Email is best because I can then send you resources, whereas if it's a phone call, I can talk you through things, but we find the best form of help is if you email, because I can send you screenshots. I've got lots of resources. I have sent one of those to Joe earlier today that is great for shows, and I think, Joe, were you going to share that with everybody, or I can pop it in the chat?
Pop it in the chat and I'll make sure that it goes out with the email about the recording, if that's all right, Sharon.
Of course, yep. If you send it to me, I can then send it all in one lot with everything.
Yep.
Perfect. I'll pop it in the chat as well. And then, Joe, you've got the link there so that we can send it with everything else as well. So thanks for your time, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joe and Cass, for all your support of our teachers. That was fantastic. So I'll start us off now with some information about PIEFA. I'll just share my screen, work through that. Hopefully, there we go. All right, I'm hoping that's working. Looks like it is on my screen. Well, thanks, Cass, for that. So PIEFA is a not-for-profit organisation that engages Australian schools and the community through education about food and fibre production and careers. We have numerous programs where we are making a difference in Australian schools, which you can have a further look on our website to get some more information about each of those programs. But obviously today's been our Knowing and Growing program. And moving on to one of our latest resources. As you can see on the screen, there's a couple of ways that you could access this resource. So I've got a QR code there. So if you want to grab your phone, you can scan that. If that works for you, you could look it up or type it in. And if you want to go through that on your phone as I'm presenting, you're welcome to do that, or you can just follow on as I'm going through. But I'll have to stop sharing this screen and go onto the website, unfortunately. So bear with me for a second. Great, so I'm hoping that that's on your screen now. So if you are following on, or if you're having a look on your phone, if you scroll down, okay, hold on for a minute. It's not going to let me interact with the actual website, which isn't. Oh, wait a second, let me see now. Are you still seeing my screen? Can somebody say yes or no?
Yep, we can see it and
Right.
it's scrolling.
Okay. Excellent,
Yes.
great.
Yes.
It is very hard on this platform, isn't it? All right, so there's a couple of things that you can look at there. You can look at the teacher version or the student version. I'll just talk you through the teacher one to start with. And then you can select on which year group you're looking for. And then I'm going to go through design and technologies. And if I click on search, so you can see there's a range of areas there. And all of these resources have been put together by PIEFA and Meat and Livestock Association. If I click on a lesson, today I thought I'd just share briefly with you the marketing and supply chain. But before I do that, I'm guessing that hasn't clicked on that screen. So while I'm playing around with that and showing you the next screen, what I'd love you to do is to either grab a piece of paper and a pen or open a sticky note. And I want you all to jot down as much as you know about the Australian beef supply chain. And I'll give you a minute to do that while I'm opening up the next web page. So you're writing down everything that you know about the supply chain of Australian beef. And now looking at your list, which I'm sure is full of information, I wonder how much of that your students know. And then after that, I wonder how many careers they could list that would go along with each of those elements of the supply chain. But bearing all of that in mind, I thought I would show you a bit on this and some of the interactive elements with this resource. To start with, therefore, teachers throughout Australia, I know people have joined us from different locations. We've got the Australian curriculum codes. There for our New South Wales teachers, I'll also share with you an example of how I've linked the Australian curriculum codes to the NESA syllabus content if you need that to go through at the end. Scrolling down, you'll see that you've got a lesson overview, contents, and you can click on each of those components or keep scrolling as I'm doing. All the resources and equipment are listed out for you there, and a lesson guide, which will give you a lot more information as to how to run the lesson and suggested areas. And towards the very end, you'll notice that we have provided you with answers as well, so you don't even need to work those out, which is great. What I wanted to show you is this part here, the Supply Chain 360 tour. So I'll click on that, and then I'll have to stop sharing and reopen that page, so bear with me. Now I'm hoping we've got that YouTube page coming up. There we go. Hopefully you've got that, and I'm hoping the sound will work. I'll just briefly show you a little bit of this and then the capabilities of this video as well.
Hi there, I'm Felicity Urquhart. Today we're going on a journey from paddock to plate to show how Australian beef is produced and why it's the best in the world. It's a 360 tour, so as we go, remember to look around you, up and down and even behind you.
So I'll just pause it there. And if I quickly scroll around, you can see 360 integration of the video. So I'm sure if your students have their own devices and they're watching, they can have some fun interacting with that the whole way through the video. So it's pretty awesome how it can do that. And I'll stop sharing that. And I'll get back to my Good Meat resource. Give me 1 second. So hopefully that's on your screen now. So as you can see, there is so much that you can access there. You know, that was just one snippet within one lesson. The next thing that I wanted to show you quickly is this supplementary materials section. And the paddock to plate card game. And I've got a bit of info on that on my PowerPoint. So I'll just go back to my PowerPoint. And hopefully you'll be able to see that. And whilst that's coming on the screen, if you wanted to take your phone and scan the QR code with the card game that you can see there, that should give you the teacher guide, and you can download the cards, which you could print before a lesson, or if you attend one of our workshops or in person, you might be lucky enough to get a set of cards. And the next one, by the way, in person's at Barker next month. So if you have a look on our website and want to come along, you're welcome to do that as well. And you can see, I was playing this a bit earlier. That's my dining room table, the first one. I've got all the supply chain set out with the arrows leading to the next area. And then the second photo, you can see that I've got the associated careers. So there's so many ways that you could play this game with the students. So have a read through the lesson plan in a lot more detail than I've got time to share with you. The next resource that I wanted to show you, oh, sorry, I stopped sharing what I needed there. All right, so the next resource that I've got for you is just been released. So it's Healthy Living Soils, developed by PIEFA Science Australia and Soils for Life, and it was supported through funding from the Australian Government's National Land Care Program. Once again, if you wanted to scan the QR code with your phone, you can, or you can watch as I lead you through. So these resources are targeted towards Year 7 to 10 Science, Geography and AgTech. And I will open that website for you. And today I just thought briefly I would take you through the teachers section. The student section has all the worksheets and resources that they need, but the teachers section will give you more detail. And I thought I'd look on lesson 2, productive soil biomes, if there's any geography teachers that have joined us today. So I've clicked on that lesson. Let me stop sharing. Apologies about the clunkiness of Google Meet. It was previously letting me open new browsers, but it stopped letting me do that. And I'll just quickly scroll up. So you can have a look at the teacher guide there, Australian curriculum codes. Once again, I've coded that to NESA, content areas for our New South Wales teachers. Same as the previous resources that I showed you. So you've got all the overviews, the worksheets that are clickable as well. And if I click on one of the worksheets, it should hopefully come up for me. Oh, actually, I don't think I will do that because it will not show me what I want to show, unfortunately. Oh, maybe it has worked. Have you got another web page on your screen now?
We've got the Deep Root blog.
Okay.
Oh, now we've got resources.
Now you've got resources. Oh, okay. Well, maybe it is working for me. That's brilliant if it is at the end of my presentation. But if whatever I click on, you'll notice that the worksheets are interactive as well. So the students can type on the worksheets if they've got the capability for that. They can scan QR codes. Obviously, you can print the worksheets before and give them to the students. And as I said, they can type right in there. So there's a wealth of resources there. So that's just 2 areas that I've had time to show you today. I'm really hoping that they'll be able to support your teaching, whether it be agricultural technologies, geography or science. Please have a look at PIEFA's, I'll stop presenting, at PIEFA's website as well, where you'll see in the Prime Zone section all of our resources. I shall stop talking now and I will hand over to Duncan because it's your time to present.
Thank you, Sharon. And welcome everyone. I'm Duncan from the Royal Agricultural Society. And today I just want to give you a little snippet of our motto is obviously giving teachers their weekends back. I'm an ex-teacher and school executive as well, but I'm still married to a teacher, so I do get to see firsthand, obviously, the weekends and supposedly those holidays that are meant to be plentiful that our public will see Can I just confirm that you can see the screen now with the nice little hand in soil and leaf?
Yes, we can see it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Yeah, I'm quite new to Google Meets as well, so I just wanted to make sure. The first thing that's relevant for context, you'll see with our vision and our mission, a lot of people at the think about the Royal Agricultural Society as the Easter Show and our competitions, but you'll also see that it's also in regards to providing and engaging, educating and entertaining our community about sustainable agriculture and quality produce. And quite similar to what Sharon was saying, is that we've been blessed with some federal government funding in regards to the National Land Care, which has actually been able for us to provide a lot of resources for agriculture and teachers for free. And I'll quickly go over those as well. It's important to know in context, I'm aware that I'm speaking to senior school teachers, but the context that we use with our primary school students, which I'm going to work towards with our secondary, is we're very lucky that we've got obviously students that have experience with agriculture. So we work through that in regards to what they see on their plate, what they might see and wear in their clothes and so on. And the old primary school teacher favourite, imagine the earth as an apple, in regards to breaking down the components of the earth moving forward. But one of the programs that we've learned a lot in regards to what senior school teachers want, but also for primary, is through our Ag in a Box program. Our Ag in a Box program, our first one was Wicked Wool. It was only pitched under federal government directions for primary schools. So it was that hands-on learning, which was extremely important in regards to felting and dyeing and so on. And what was interesting is our secondary applications for this nearly outstripped our primary. I initially thought it was bad communication from myself. So when I went and informed and contacted the secondary teachers, unfortunately, the context that was put back to us was something is better than nothing. In regards to a lot of them weren't agricultural teachers, they were science teachers or geography teachers being tapped on the shoulder and being told that in their school they'd be teaching agriculture. So we still continued with that hands-on component, which is extremely popular, especially with our pollination, so looking at sustainability practices. But then we saw from the senior school that there was a lot of hands-on real-life examples. One of those, for example, within our horticulture, was some of those seeds there were actually germinated in the International Space Station, which was amazing. So they were actually able to grow those in the classroom, plant a seed from a wattle seed that was also germinated on Earth, and then they're actually able to triangulate that data from the International Space Station, those growing the same wattle as well. So we saw a lot of success with this, and we thought, right, this is something that we really want to celebrate. And as we moved forward, we looked at a lot of examples about how we can make that curriculum come alive. So especially in dairy, we looked at the asparagosis seaweed reducing methane in cattle, but also improving animal health, and a lot of sustainability research as well. But one thing I really want to celebrate is obviously this has resonated. Our initial target from the federal government was 300, and with our last box, which was Delicious Dairy, we had over 1,435. Now that's thanks to the teachers giving us the feedback about what they liked, but what about what they didn't like as well. So if you haven't received it, please go onto our website and make sure you register an expression of interest. And as you can see, with that numbers, a lot of it is in the metropolitan areas, but also in rural and regional New South Wales as well. But one thing I'd really, as I said, the focus of this presentation is bringing real world learning classroom into your classroom. Now, this is one award that keep your eye out for. We've already launched it, but we've got some possible sponsors on board where anyone who is receiving the finals will receive quite a handy grant that you can then reinvest into some of the innovation in agriculture that you're showing in your schools. Now, I'm going to explain where that comes from and how and where. But the first thing is that we actually need to look at the reason why would we want to bring real world learning into the classroom. This is recorded, so I'm not going to go through and be a typical teacher and explain everything. But the main thing is that it's meaningful, it has that value of authenticity, and it's also meaningful for the students as well. The engagements there, the continuation of their study is also prevalent from my experience moving through with this type of teaching. Now, you might recognise obviously some of these words. I'm not going to go through it once again, all these types of learning, but we have our project-based learning, our problem-based learning, and also our community action projects. Now, it's great. Teaching is full of acronyms and catchphrases and everything else. So what I've got is just some examples about how could you make your agricultural studies, be framed with that holistic approach of these types of approaches to learning. Now, project-based learning, where I actually got the inspiration to launch the RAS Ag Innovation in Schools Award, was from the smallest school in New South Wales. So you might be sitting there saying, oh, it's great to suggest, Duncan, all these great ideas. I'm busy, I'm flat chat. But the smallest school in New South Wales, I was watching them on landline, and what they actually did is that they turned a field next to their school and actually harvested a crop where they're actually able to make a profit of $50,000 in regards to wheat. Now, these two ladies didn't do it by themselves. What they did is they reached out and got consultation from locals in the community, to the point where when it came to harvesting, they reached out to a local farmer who kindly came in and did it for free. But the hands-on process that the smaller school did in New South Wales really encouraged me, and hopefully encourages you to think about what is an opportunity or making that curriculum come alive for your school. This story was actually picked up by Channel 7. If you go onto YouTube and look at the Royal Easter Show with Hermidale School, it's there. But what was a quirky little story is that the principal and the teacher said, yes, look, we'd love to come down. I'd organise a sponsor for their hotel and so on. But they said, not the kids. And I thought, oh, what have we done wrong? That's quite ungrateful. But what actually the reason is that they're actually so inspired by their first wheat crop is that for next year's Easter show, they're really looking to now submit their canola for Easter show judging and hopefully receive an award. So they said, would we be able to carry over this very kind gift over into next year's show? And of course, the Royal Agricultural Society said absolutely. The next model that we have that is a suggestion of problem-based learning, and unfortunately now in agriculture there's quite a significant amount of different problem-based learning. You can have problems in regards to efficiency, but you can also have in regards to ethics. This is an interesting one in regards to virtual fencing. Obviously in the presentation you'll be able to read through, okay, what are the benefits of this kind of programming? But what's interesting in Australia is that we only have 2 states in Australia at the moment that actually allow it. And there are benefits. It's increasing sustainability in a workforce that's diminishing. It actually reduces the amount of labour on farm, but also brings in the ethics. So that's a really interesting project about looking at technology, but also in agriculture, some of the adjustments we can have and putting your students at the forefront of being problem solvers moving forward. Community action projects. This is a great one. You can look it up once again on their website. It's all run by university students, you know, some of the majority actually first year, starting a community urban garden, or as they call themselves, urban growers, and they troubleshoot a lot of those issues and involve the school. So maybe it's a school that you have that you could actually be able to start an urban garden, engage, you know, members of retirement homes or so on, but just really making that agricultural context come alive as well. The next example is this gentleman whose business is going exceptional. It's called Urban Green, and he was a chef in Sydney who used to obviously import certain types of fresh vegetables and herbs, mainly smaller ones, and just couldn't comprehend how far they came, the carbon footprint they have. And now he's actually established himself in Barangaroo and actually grows and supplies all the leading restaurants around Sydney CBD. Now, I'm not saying that you and your school do this, but this is something that if they could come up with hypothetical projects, it's something that really could relate to the students as well. This gentleman also, that's his delivery bicycle, so it's obviously very sustainable. The packaging is from recycled material. The use they use recycled coconut husks in regards to fertilizers, and obviously the amount of LED lights is all from solar panel as well. So maybe just putting that situation of what is one of those community projects they could have. This is one that we started up here at the Royal Agricultural Society, was a rural students cafe. Every year we have tender for a lot of our commercial cafes, and quite a tedious process. We came up with the idea of regional and rural kids who want to get into hospitality. They want to become chefs, management, or service. So what we do is we put them up in accommodation down here and let them run a cafe in Australia's largest ticketed events. Now, the experience that they've had from that has been exceptional. And what we were very honoured by, actually on Friday, we were finalists in the New South Wales Training Awards for it, which was great to be recognised. And when Princess Anne came for her 200th birthday, she actually was one of the areas that she wanted to attend and to learn about, showing how those community projects can help. Now, obviously, I know that there are questions that may want to be asked, so if you could put those in the chat. And I've finished on time, which is extremely rare for me. But also what I've got are my contact details. So that's my phone number and email. So if you'd like to send something through, take a screenshot. If you've got some ideas about any of those projects, that is what we're here for. And once again, coming back to our vision and our mission statement, that is what we're here for you, is to serve you and to help you, and as an education department, to give you teachers your weekend back. So thank you.
Thank you, Duncan, for your outstanding presentation. That was awesome.
My pleasure.
So I'd like to acknowledge and thank Joe, Cass and Duncan for all their hard work and involvement in our Knowing and Growing Teacher PD session. I'll just quickly share my PowerPoint again. Bear with me. So I have a feedback survey. If everybody that's there could grab their mobile phones, if they're handy, and scan the QR code and take a couple of minutes to do that survey, that we'd all really appreciate it, because that would help us to develop future events like this one. Be as honest as you can in providing whatever feedback you'd like to. Whilst you're doing that, if there are questions, please put them in the chat and we can have a look at that now and see if we can address any of those. So we'll give you a couple of minutes to get that survey done. And if anybody's having any issues, let me know. And I can't see any questions in the chat. Oh, there we go. We have one. Joe and Duncan, can you see the question in the chat?
Let me have a look.
From John. Thanks, John. No question's a silly question, FYI.
Ah.
John, I haven't heard of that being done. It seems like a great idea potentially for schools that have limited space. I guess in terms of, it depends on what your goal is for the program. I know if you're trying to use it for a science investigation, then having it on site gives you a bit more control over variables and issues like that in your scientific method. But yeah, I mean, the ag patch training that I mentioned briefly does look at a number of different ways of achieving that, from things like, I think it's Barker that's got the vertical gardens along the walls in their limited space. And but even being able to produce a unit of work or write a unit of work based on one tree in your schoolyard, if you've got a macadamia tree or one fruit tree or a tomato plant in a pot, really space shouldn't be the limiting factor in being able to deliver food and fibre learning in schools.
Yeah, and John, great question. And the only silly question is the one you don't ask. That's my cringy ex-teacher one. But anyway, look, we really encourage it. And I think from that map that I showed you from the applicants for our Ag in a Box is that a lot of them are actually from metropolitan schools. So I think we really need to be open to that. And one thing, it was actually a conversation I had with Scott Graham, who's the head of agriculture at Barker College, is really embracing what people call urban ag. So be it vertical gardens, be it with, I know some of these flow hives that aren't popular with some of our beekeepers here at the Royal Agricultural Society. But what's really interesting is a statistic that just came through just recently is that nearly, 35% of jobs now are not on farm. So that's quite interesting in regards to the workforce that we need to provide. But the main thing is just getting those students interested. So if it's in their backyard, if it's in a little plot that's in a vertical point up on the side of your school, I think really open to that and engage it.
Thank you. Any other questions? Whilst we have 4 minutes, we've all done well with timing today. Thank you. Whilst we're waiting to see if there's any other questions, as I said earlier, we've got an in-person PD session at Barker next month, and Scott Graham, the head of Ag, is going to be talking to that point exactly, Duncan. So if you're New South Wales or Sydney based, come along to that.
And he's recently doing his PhD, so a lot of that research and information is relevant. And to be honest, it's the best way to keep up to date with all the quick changes, because a lot of what's published out there at the moment is already out of date. So I look forward to hopefully making it out there as well.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I'm guessing there aren't any other questions then. I'll just finish. If there are any more questions, feel free to put them in. I'll just share my contact details with you as well if anybody wants to get in touch at any point in time. And I'd like to thank you all for attending and for all the hard work that you do in supporting our teachers and teaching food and fibre education. And hopefully we'll get to see you again at any of our future events. And those can be found on PIEFA's website. So please have a look and sign up to anything that's of interest. Thank you all so much for attending tonight. and you're welcome to log off.
Thanks, Sharon.
Thank
Thank you, Sharon.
Thanks for organising.
Thanks so much.